This is the 10 Eyes Podcast, a weekly show that talks about our love and our hate for all things media. Hosted by me, Jack.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Andrew.
Spoiler warning for the following games: Bloodborne, Undertale.
Splatoon, Mother 3.
Enter the Gungeon, Dead by Daylight. Roll the cheese.
Roll the cheese.
What? Roll the cheese?
Have you not seen the Asdorf movie?
Hello.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Let him speak.
Welcome back to the 10 Eyes Podcast.
Why are you sounding so sinister?
I don't know. I just wanted to say it in that
That's
way
fair
this
enough.
time.
But it's
Different
like,
things.
It's November. It's
Different.
Christmas time now.
Variation. I don't believe it is time for Christmas yet. I'm still in the Halloween mood. I'm gonna be watching more horror movies for November.
It's November though.
If I was a fictional character personified, I would be the Grinch. That's all I'm going to say because
Would you be Jim Carrey or Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, I would
Grinch?
be the OG one.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
OG. You'd be
OG.
the-
Yeah, no, him, the
animated
goated
one?
one, the animated goated one, that guy.
Not the Illumination one.
No, not Benedict Cumberbatch. No, not him.
What?
I'm partial to Jim Carrey myself.
Jim Carrey's like second place. He's fine.
Hmm.
Anyway, I shall ask you guys, what did you guys have for breakfast this morning?
I had protein pancakes.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Explain yourself.
Explain yourself.
This uni year, I've been one of my sort of uni year resolutions was sort of to start getting into more baking.
Okay.
Just getting into making protein like pancakes, cookies, maybe cakes later on. And
Okay.
yeah, I found a very good recipe online.
I had a sandwich from the local shop. It was just ham and cheese and a bit of mayo. I had a Mars bar with it. It wasn't really breakfast. It was kind of the in-between segment. I just switch it up and have a sandwich.
That does sound lovely.
Jack, what did you have?
I had about one chocolate bar, and that was it.
Nutritious.
It's better than nothing.
Today, we are talking about video games.
I love video games.
So do I.
I play video games.
I have one question to start with. When did everyone start playing video games?
As long as I can remember. So about 2009.
My first ever video game was Lego Indiana Jones.
Oh, Lego games are elite, yeah. What did you play it on?
My dad's old office computer.
Oh, you played it on PC. I played it on the DS.
Yeah, no, and I got a controller.
I think I played it on the PS3.
Wow, everyone had different. I played it on the DS.
Later, the family got the Wii, and then after we had the Wii, I invested in the PlayStation 3.
And that's where it started for you.
That's when it started for me. That's when I really got into it. I remember that's like the age of where Jack played a lot of video games. So
Yeah. Kind of first game I want to talk about is Enter the Gungeon, which came out in 2016. It's a gunfight dungeon crawler following a band of misfits seeking to shoot, loot, dodge, table flip their way to reach the legendary treasure, the gun that killed the past. The gun that can kill the past. So
killed
it's
the past.
yeah, I'll explain it in a minute.
Yes.
I'll explain it in a second. So you select a hero and you battle your way through the bottom of this gungeon by surviving a challenging and evolving series of floors, which you have 10 in total, and there's also secret floors and stuff. And you can fight these dangerously adorable Gundead and their fearsome Gundam bosses. The way it's designed is an 8-bit game, and the enemies are shaped like bullets, and they hold guns that shoot bullets. The whole idea of this Enter the Gungeon is that it's kind of spoof and kind of a light-hearted take on a dungeon crawler. So a lot of the enemies kind of look like what they are and look like what they do. So a shotgun bolt will have a shotgun in their hand and then they shoot it and they'll react to themselves because they're technically shooting themselves. It's really weird. It's quite wacky. You gather precious loot and you discover hidden secrets and chat of merchants and shopkeepers. With these items and these weapons, they can range from an AK-47, a god killer. The whole point is that it's quite random luck, and I love this kind of game that you don't know what you're going to do when you get in. You have to make your way around these rooms, and you don't know what's going to be in that room. It's different bosses, it's different guys, and I've played it very recently, so I'm not that far in, but I just really like kind of the gameplay mechanics and kind of the luck around it. Piques your interest
would
at
that
all.
be a roguelike type game? Or?
It's a little bit roguelike. It's just really a dungeon crawler. Depending on who you pick, you get special abilities. So you have the 3 hearts, and then you can have armor points. And if you die, obviously you die, and you go back to the start. The whole story is that this person has to go all the way to floor 10, defeat this boss, and be able to escape this time loop.
That sounds awesome.
And I just think, to me, I really like that idea.
That's I don't know, that goes really hard for a story.
Yeah, it's not the A plot per se, it is kind of the B plot, this idea of killing the past. There's not much to talk about it because the gameplay is so random, it's so out there for a game. It came out in 2016, so it's a bit old now, and they did make sequels and stuff that have more streamlined versions. But there's over 200 weapons that you can have, or over 271 items.
I was
That's a lot.
I was gonna say I came over to your place the only memory I have of into the dungeon is we were sitting down and then this enemy got hit by like a log or something and it just made like a noise.
Yeah,
and we just laughed our asses off
yeah,
at it.
so like in the dungeon stuff, there's like environments that can kill you, and that one was just like a thwomp, is the best way to describe it, and it thwomped one of the gun dead, and it's got such funny sound design. The bullets, there's one of my favorite weapons is a banana gun that can shoot 3 different bananas that explode.
That
Yeah,
sounds like something straight
yeah.
out of BTD.
Like,
Yeah,
I
it's so
was gonna
dumb.
say like worms.
Yeah, it's basically a dungeon like game that is associated with worms in that kind of way. It's like you can get the holy grenade, and there's weapons like there's the Mega Man weapon and stuff.
The holy hand grenade.
Yeah, you can get the holy hand grenade in it. It's
Thou
so cool.
shalt count to 3,
Yeah.
no more, no less.
So that's what I mean. I love that because they play such great homage and kind of motifs towards other games.
I wouldn't lie, I was actually thinking like sort of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon when you were explaining it. I was
Yeah.
thinking something along those
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah, you can like collect characters that help you throughout. So when you defeat bosses and stuff, you get like boss tokens, and with the boss tokens, you can buy different weapons. So when you like open a chest or kill a certain enemy, you'll get an item back. And when you start the trials or go into the dungeon, you get 2 keys, and like when you kill them, you get like the bullet fragments, which are coins. You get coins, and you get keys that can open up chests and give you these items and give you these guns that help you. But also, if you defeat bosses, you get a guaranteed weapon that will help you. So it's like climbing this ladder of impossibility to then kill the past and be free. And I'm really new into it, so I'm enjoying it a lot.
No, that is. I think that's just a really cool and unique way to do like a dungeon crawler game.
Yeah.
And bring in guns to it as well.
There's not much else to
Well,
say
yeah,
about
that
it.
was-
I just really like
It's
it.
indie, eh?
Yeah, it's indie. Yeah, it's made by Dodge Roll.
Yeah, because I was thinking like 2016. That's sort of around the time like the indie scene like really
Oh, yeah.
started
Really
picking up.
popped
yeah.
off.
It really
yeah.
did, yeah. So I think it definitely hit the height. I played it on PlayStation and stuff.
Talked about
Let's talk
mine.
about yours, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, you guys have two very like sort of deep ones. I've got some deeper ones later. I'm going to talk about a bit of a goofy one.
Yeah.
Please do.
Splatoon.
Oh,
This is the Wii U one. So basically, I had picture this 9-year-old me, huge Nintendo fan, but I hadn't really like broadened my horizons yet. I see these ads for this like new title, Splatoon, and basically you shoot ink and you cover the turf with your said ink. Whoever has the most turf covered wins the game. And I see the advertisements for it. I just think, oh, this is sick. This is like
It's a
such
good
cool
concept.
idea.
It
Yeah,
really
it's a really good concept. And 9-year-old me, Wii U, like I was like, okay, yeah, my birthday's coming out soon. Actually, fun fact: the original Splatoon released one day before my birthday.
Oh, that's
Oh.
cool.
One day before
You're
my 10th
directly linked
birthday.
to it.
So I got it for my 10th birthday. I got a Wii U. It was bundled with Zelda Wind Waker, which maybe we'll
Oh,
talk about
fantastic
another
game.
time. I played the fuck out of it. Over 300 hours. Like I've played lots of the other 2 Splatoon games, but like I'll talk about my issues with those 2 later. But the original I played tons of. Anyway.
What do you do in the Splat of Toon?
Okay, yeah.
I like
So
it.
basically, you play as these like humanoid like squids. Like
they
they're
inklings?
they're called inklings. Sometimes also referred to as squid kids. They're people who walk around. They got little guns or paint rollers, buckets. It's really
love the
it's a
paint.
really goofy, like vibrant, fun game.
I love the paint roller.
Yeah, the rollers are really fun to use. You can run around and then you can paint up all the area. But then you're gonna run out of ammo at some point. You're gonna run out of ink. So you turn into your squid mode, and if you go into squid mode whilst you're in your own like colored ink, you can recharge your ammo as well as move faster.
Oh, so you got like the infinite ammo glitch for real.
Yeah, basically.
That's what I
yeah.
think of it right
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
You go into a squid form, you recharge, and then you can fire it again. That's
Yeah.
so fun.
Although there's single player campaigns in each of the games, like they're not really like that. They're not really that like great,
say it's-
admittedly.
Yeah, it's not the selling point of it.
Yeah, it's not the selling point. I will say, as a side note, the Splatoon 2 DLC was banging. That
Yeah.
was really good.
Okay.
Anyway, beyond that, there's the casual turf war, which I've already explained, but then you've also got the ranked modes, which are splat zones, which is basically like zone control. You've got tower control, which is sort of like a payload type.
Oh, okay.
You've got then clam blitz, which is super hard to explain.
That's fair enough.
Basically, it's clams that spawn around the entire map, and you basically then have to go collect 10, and it turns into an American football.
Oh,
and
it's
you
like-
have to throw it at a basket, which will open the basket, and then you have to chuck more clams in, and whoever gets down the enemy basket down to 0 wins. I think one thing that lots of people do like about the Splatoon series as a whole are it's hard to describe their role. I guess like the idols. So in Splatoon 1, you've got Callie Murray. calamari.
Yeah.
Little pun. They use loads of puns in Splatoon.
Oh.
Callie and Marie, they're idols, they're news hosts, they're secret agents. In Splatoon, like,
What?
if you're an idol, you do, like, a million other things. These people are probably the most busy people on the planet.
How do they have time
I
for
don't know.
anything in the world? They're
'Cause
constantly on the
it's
job.
goofy Squid Game, mate.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I don't know what I'm expecting. Think about the lore of
But
it.
what does this mean for the squid economy?
Because Splatoon is a massive, online game, the way they keep it fresh is lots of the time they just update it for a couple years. New weapons or weapon types, new maps, occasionally, very occasionally, new modes. And they also have typically about monthly updates or events called Splatfests. So the Splatfest is sort of like a would you rather type thing. So at least for the first two games, each idol represents or I guess all three, but it's 2 options for the first two, 3 for the third, because there's 3 idols in the third one.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so there's 2 options for the first one, and it's basically one idol represents one option. So you pick your side in the fight, and you battle in a bunch of turf wars. Whichever side gets a mixture of the most votes and the most wins the Splatfest. So each Splatfest, there's different themes. They did cats versus dogs, SpongeBob versus Patrick.
What? How did they get the license for that? That's
They
crazy.
actually Nintendo have got lots of licenses for
that's
other ones.
great.
I know there was one for TMNT.
Oh, awesome.
I think Transformers got one.
Oh, come on. That is cool.
I don't know if they did many during Splatoon 3, but yeah, Splatoon 1 and I think especially Splatoon 2, they did lots of
I remember that
like
one, yeah.
advertisement ones. They also, in Splatoon 1, they also did Callie versus Marie.
Oh, God. Who won that?
It was
Makes
Callie
sense,
who
makes
won.
sense.
And this goes on to my next point. Each Splatoon game has one big Splatfest, typically towards the end or like at the end, be the final Splatfest, something like that. A really neat thing they do is, although it's not like a confirmed tradition, and it's like kind of seen, the result of a big like final Splatfest impacts the next game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so Callie versus Marie, Callie won, and then in Splatoon 2's story mode. Oh wait, no, shit, I got that mixed around.
It's right. Now I
Yeah.
get you.
No, Marie won. So Marie, she was the hero in the story mode alongside you, and then Callie, she was brainwashed, and she was the villain, one of the 2 villains.
Yeah, so like everything that you do in the game does count towards something. It's not like meaningless, just online fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I remember one of them I did was like burgers or hot dogs. Which one was better? And I think burgers won.
Yeah.
Real.
So anyway, I'm just going to go to my personal experience now.
Definitely.
This is more so why I haven't played Splatoon 2 or 3 that much. Yeah, back in the day, I played a ton of Splatoon 2. I think I had about 200 hours in a matter of like a year, maybe. So I played loads. Nintendo Online, it sucks. And Nintendo's older like online sort of coding basically meant I remember I switched Wi-Fi networks at some point, and I just could not play Splatoon 2 online anymore.
Oh.
And it meant basically I just got locked out of the entire like series up until Splatoon 3 came. I played Splatoon 3, and luckily Nintendo had switched like their online coding a bit by then, so I could at least play Splatoon 3 online.
Yeah.
I've played a fair bit, but it's definitely not as much as like in my heyday.
Yeah, would you say it's not as fun anymore for you?
I think it's more fun because I'm less of a sweat now.
Okay,
But I
yeah.
do think, I will say this about Splatoon 3, the maps design is way worse.
Oh, that's
And
a shame.
also, I think a part of it is I just miss the absolute chaos of Splatoon 1.
You missed the rawness to it.
Yeah, it was very raw, and I loved that.
Yeah, so quickly give me your rankings.
My rankings
Yeah.
would be probably number 1 is Splatoon 1, number 2 is Splatoon 3, 3 is Splatoon 2.
Okay, that's crazy.
Right. And speaking of squids, it segues quite nice into my next game. That, of course, being Bloodborne.
Would you say this is your favorite game of all time?
It is the contender against Red Dead constantly. In my mind, they constantly fight for that number 1 spot.
What, does it just like switch by the day, or?
Yeah.
It switches through different like emotions basically. Because sometimes I really like Red Dead, but then I just said some nights, especially on October time, and I'm just like, but the horror of Bloodborne, and that's the thing about me. I love horror games. The only good horror game I've ever played to me has been like Outlast, Until Dawn. That was really good. But then I played Bloodborne finally after I'd played Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3. And I was like, but what is Bloodborne actually about? Will I like it? And then I sat down and I'm like, oh my god, this game goes hard as hell. My mind opened up and it was like the way that you just start the game with this guy in a wheelchair. He has his eyes covered and he's just talking to you about blood ministration. You're like, what am I doing? And it's basically, Bloodborne is about you, the player character, comes from an outside land to this land called Yharnam, who is the land of blood ministration. They can heal people with this magical blood they have. But you come at the time of the night of the hunt.
Okay.
So basically what's going on is that everybody of Yharnam is out hunting these beasts. But it seems that something is not clearly right because of the other, I'm about to say, Yharnamites, which is the coolest name for citizens of a city.
Oh, I thought they could be the enemies for a reason. I don't know why.
Well, they've also gone insane for some reason, and you don't understand why. And basically what it is that you're trying to find something called pale blood to transcend the hunt and cure whatever illness you have. As soon as you get this blood ministration, it the horror just begins. The first thing you see is a werewolf that comes out of a pool of blood and then bursts into flames.
Jesus.
Creepy.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
That's
and
creepy.
I was just sitting there like, we've barely begun. What the hell is happening?
It's a really mix-up from Splatoon, like a kid-friendly game to that.
Yeah,
to
no,
like,
that's
I said.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
It's insane. And then the next thing I know is that I see a werewolf kill me, and then I wake up in a different plane of reality. This creepy, like, settling music. I never felt like I was safe anywhere besides maybe, like, the hub world, the hunter stream, and stuff like that. Basically, most Souls games just follow the same structure. You're a guy who are from an outside place, you're nowhere, but now you gotta do this thing and kill bosses. But, like, the magic of Bloodborne's horror is that it's cosmic. The more you discover about the horror, the more deeper it goes. And to me, at least, the horror is basically, you should have never played it because now you can never go back to the ignorant person you were because it transcends cosmic being of gods and shit, and, like, you become as insane as these people you saw in the beginning. So, like, you see ramblings, but you become that rambler. The gameplay is really, really addictive.
Like you mentioned, it's a Souls type game.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's
it's
obviously difficult.
But the other ones are like, it's addictive because it's hard and you want to keep like getting better at it. Bloodborne's is just so much fun that you just want to keep going. And a cool little lore tidbit is that most hunters that you encounter through the night have gone blood drunk with crazy and frenzy because they get addicted to this hunt.
Oh, okay.
But
that's
then
quite cool.
when you become addicted to the gameplay, you're technically becoming blood drunk as well because you keep just hunting more beasts.
Yeah, so you're just slowly becoming one of them, slowly turning into what they are.
Yeah, and then, I don't know, also everybody was British, which made it even more scary.
Hell yeah.
We love British
No, because
scares.
you'd be walking around, you see just this silhouette of like elongated people, and you're like, are these friendly? And then you walk up to them, and they're just freaking like, get out of here! Like they just scream at you and shit.
To you, Jack, do you love the game because of how difficult it is, or because of the elements of the lore?
Both.
Both? Yeah. I'm trying to get a pinpoint on why you.
It's both the story, the elements, the horror, all of that is really, really cool. But due to it being like tricky and difficult, it makes you like slow down. You have to look at what's happening and like study things. The boss fights to me, they feel really unique. Like I'm fighting this priest, which his weapon's a little axe. Then he makes it a bigger axe, and then when you're fighting this guy, he transforms into a monster. It's like what?
Yeah, you don't know the twists and turns.
It's like the twists never end. I just feel like they get more and more creative as we continue onwards. A lot of people give Bloodborne a little bit like, oh, but you have to farm for your items because you don't have unlimited flasks and healing, stuff like that.
You just like it.
I love it. I fuck
it.
with it. I fuck with it. Also, it has the coolest fashion in any video game because you just look drippy.
And that leads quite nicely into the horror aspect of my next game.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Which is Dead by Daylight, which came out in 2016 by Behavior Games. It is an asymmetric multiplayer survival horror game. Dead by Daylight is basically a game of cat and mouse. You have one killer and 4 survivors. There are these trials that are made up by an eldritch being known as the Entity, who can transcend timelines and realities, which we'll come back to in a second. This entity feeds off the player's suffering. The players and killers are led from this fog towards a campfire to start a trial. The survivors' objectives are to escape the trial by repairing 5 generators and then opening 2 exit gates to leave. The killer's objective is to stop them by any means. The killers catch them by hitting them twice or if they're special ability, they hit them once and they're like downed on the floor. And once they're down on the floor, the killers can pick them up and hook them. And this is a key aspect of the game because you're supposed to hook these survivors, and as they get hooked twice, they are sacrificed to the entity, and there's game over. You go back to the campfire and you start the trial again. Every killer and survivor have 4 slots of perks that they can choose from. These perks help them repair generators, heal everyone around you, and give the survivors an advantage towards the killer's abilities, which then being vice versa towards the killer. And I like this aspect because every character in the game has 3 perks that are unique to the character. So a prime example is when Chucky came out, and there's
Like the
IPs.
doll.
Yeah,
no,
the doll.
I thought they did the Jason one.
Yeah, so this is what I was going to get into. The characters in this game, there are existing IP and also horror icons. There is Michael Myers, there's Freddy Krueger, there's Castlevania, there's Dracula, and they all have special abilities that are unique to them. So with Michael Myers, he can like stalk people, and the more he stalks and the more he does things, the more powerful he gets, like in the movies. It's very cool to me, this lore of the entity can transcend timelines and realities and bring anyone who he wants into this realm. And I love that simple lore factor to be so involved with the gameplay of just repairing generators or hitting them twice. It's so simple yet so complex, and that's what I like about it so much.
Hell yeah.
Like there are so many characters in the game that are unique to different franchises. Like there's Wesker from Resident Evil and Silent Hill as well. So you can play as Pyramid Head and hit people and cage them up, and it's a 18+ game. So you can see all the blood, you can see all the horror, and it's just
sick.
And I've played that since launch, and I've seen the changes that they've made, and it's a really well thought out game for something so simple. And I think it's probably one of my favorite games of all time because of that.
Did they make a second one as well?
So they made a April Fool's spin-off game that was a dating simulator. I know, exactly.
I did not know about this.
Yeah, it's called like Hooked on You, which is obviously related to the hooks. But I think the game is so fascinating because the cosmetics also are apparent to different versions of the characters.
I just remember the KFC dating simulator.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
we should talk about that. I love Dead by Daylight. It's one of my favorite games. It's amazing.
Hell yeah.
Mother 3.
Oh. Mother 3.
Mother
Not
3.
Earthbound.
Not Earthbound, no.
I have no idea about these games.
Yes,
So I'm
not
in for the
surprised.
ride here.
I think very few people have played Mother 3, and there's very obvious reasons why. It never left Japan. I might talk about at the end certain reasons why it might have, but it's never been outright confirmed, and it's like an on-running gag, localized Mother 3. I think I started off with my knowledge with Mother 3, same as basically anyone else. Lucas in Smash Bros. He's
Not Ness.
Ness
just Earthbound?
Ness is Earthbound. So Ness is the protagonist of Earthbound.
Okay, I did not know that at all. I thought they were both just part of Earth.
Like, yeah, all the protagonists of like in the Mother/Earthbound series, they're just all like little kids with psychic powers.
Oh, okay.
Lucas is actually my main in Smash Bros.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Okay.
I promise I don't spam PK Fire.
Lies.
Because I've been maining him for a while, I decided, you know what, I'm going to buy Earthbound on the Virtual Console. This will come back later with my next game as well. Yeah, so I started to get into Virtual Console games on the Wii U, played Earthbound, I fucking loved it. I saw like a bunch of people talking about Mother 3 and the sequel that never left. I was like, you know what, I'm going to play it. Apparently there's a fan translation, and by certain means you can play it. Mother 3 is about a family of 4. You've got the twins, Lucas and Klaus. You've got the mother, who's called Hinawa, and the father, who's called Flint. You can actually name them after your own family. I didn't do that.
Oh.
You'll know why it's a bad idea to do that.
Okay.
They've also got a dog named Boney. So they live in a small town called Tazmily, which is on the last remaining islands of Earth. There's this army called the Pig Masks, who are controlled by Porky, who is an antagonist from Earthbound, and they're starting to experiment with technology. Tazmily is it's not like very technologically advanced. As a part of the Pig Mask experiment, they start experimenting on like animals, like live animals. This is a bit of a fantasy, one of them it's called a Mecha Drago, which is basically a robot T-Rex.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's out of left field.
The Mother series goes crazy.
As Hinawa, Lucas, and Klaus are returning from Hinawa's dad's house, they get caught by the Mecha Drago. So she dies. Hinawa dies.
The mum dies? Is that
She
why
dies.
they don't name him after your family?
Yes. Lucas, he's known as a bit of a crybaby. And, this is a part of the reason why, Klaus, he's, the more confident twin. He tries to go and fight it. And Flint, he's distraught when he finds out. So there's a campfire where they find Lucas and Klaus, and he just snaps right in front of them. He takes a burning plank of wood and literally starts swinging it at other, villagers.
Jesus.
He's, he is done. Later on, play through the rest of Chapter 1, Flint ends up finding the Mecha Drago Piggo and has to kill it with the same tooth that killed Hanawa. The reason why he tries to fight it is because Klaus went to fight it before.
Yeah.
He never finds Klaus.
Oh
my
Klaus goes
goodness.
missing. Flint, he's devastated, and he becomes like, I guess, a bit of a deadbeat. So this leaves Lucas basically all alone with Boney. This sets up the rest of the story. Next chapter goes straight on to a complete different characters. There's the thief Duster. He has to explore this castle nearby that's also being raided by the pig masks. There he runs into Kumatora, who's a psychic princess. And they also run into one of the Magypsies, who are very controversial, very controversial. They guard the dragon pins. There are, I believe, 8 of them. It might be 9, actually. Something like that. I think it's an odd number. They guard them, and this law is basically if you pull all the dragon pins, whoever pulls the final needle will like transfer to the dragon, and like the dragon will likely recreate the world or destroy the world.
Oh, okay, so it's like the god creature.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's the best way to describe it, I feel like.
That only gets important like to the end of the game. With the help of the Magypsies, Lucas awakens his PSI, or well, psychic power. He goes on the adventure with him, Boney, Kumatora, and Duster. So the pig masks technology starts to then eventually change Tazmily. I know there's one, I think his name's like Facade, and he's trying to like implement money into Tazmily and TVs, which I think they call like happy devices.
I mean, it's not
Happy
wrong.
boxes.
Happy boxes.
It's not wrong, though, is it?
Wait, have you played?
No, I know about Mother 3.
Yeah.
I just
okay.
like don't remember all. I watched like a video essay of it a long time ago.
So he's basically bringing in money, sort of like doing the pig masks bidding. Lucas is, you know, him and the gang have to stop him. They go to the Thunder Tower, like, well, that's creating all these, like, artificial electric shocks. They defuse it all. In the end, they end up boarding this ship where they see the masked man. The reason why Lucas and the gang were able to get so far were because they went in disguise throughout the tower. Lucas looks like the masked man. So this is probably the most emotional bit. By this point, we're in chapter 6.
Okay, how many
of
chapters
8.
in total?
6 of 8. This chapter, 1 scene. I will say the last 2 are like the longest. Lucas and Boney fall into a place called Sunflower Fields, and they walk through. They see Hinawa's ghost.
Oh.
And he's grieving, and you know she appears like above the cliff. He jumps off the cliff into a hay bale back to Tazmily.
Assassin's
Classic.
Creed.
Yeah, I was just about to say
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed core.
And yeah, it's just like a really emotional scene. The pig masks and like the main party, their goal, get all of the dragon needles. I know they go like across different islands, up through volcanoes, and all sorts.
They go wandering.
They at one point they actually all get high. It's an Earthbound like mother game. It is crazy. You know, the pig masks and Lucas's party, they're tied. All is left is one final pin, which is under New Pork City. This is like a capitalist dystopia. Everything is like just fake. Basically the
Yeah.
opposite of Tazmily. You know, all of the townspeople are gathered here. They all like rally support for Lucas as he finds his way down to like the bottom of the city. And first of all, he has to fight Porky himself. The way you defeat Porky is he ends up locking himself in the absolute safe capsule.
He just puts himself into like a vault.
Kind of,
Yeah,
yeah.
he just puts himself into a little safe chamber.
Basically, the thing with the absolute safe capsule is nothing can get in or out. So by the end of the game, he's still alive. He's trapped. He's immortal. He is
Legend.
trapped in that capsule forever. Final fight goes down. Lucas versus Masked Man. The Masked Man is Klaus.
What? I never would have seen
Yeah,
this coming.
never would have seen it coming.
What do you mean the twin that looks like the main character is the
Yeah.
villain?
Yeah, like it's pretty obvious. But anyway, they go down. You know, the ghost of Hinawa comes between the two of them. You know, it's like a 1v1 fight, and like she's just convincing Klaus, like, oh, stop fighting. You know, you're better than this. He eventually overcomes the brainwashing, and he kills himself.
What?
Dude, what the hell?
Again,
What is this lore? Like, so much stuff happens.
again, this is a
How?
brief.
I know that's what I'm
synopsis,
saying.
yeah.
Like, how can this be any
Brief?
more detailed? Exactly.
This is brief.
This is the brief version. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Basically, Lucas gets hold of a Franklin badge, which is
Oh, I've
like
heard of the Franklin
the
badge.
Franklin badge is iconic, like Earthbound item. It reflects any like lightning attacks.
Okay.
Klaus uses lightning. You know, he's overcome like with grief. You know, he directs a thunderbolt at the Franklin badge. It reflects. He kills himself. You know, Flint and Lucas and everyone else like watch as he like says his last words. Then finally, you know, Lucas, he pulls the final needle. The script, everything goes black. You can see like the dialogue between the characters, but
Oh, that's cool.
what Shigesato Itoi, I think his way of explaining it is whatever you think happens at the end is what happens.
Oh, I like that.
It's open-ended.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
so
open-ended. I
it's
like
an
that.
open-ended one.
Is it an RPG?
It's a
gameplay?
JRPG.
Okay.
It's got a very unique battle system. Basically, like your standard turn-based RPG, but it's got a rolling sort of counter.
Okay.
Like if you've ever played against Undertale and you've gone down the genocide path against Sans, it's similar to that. Yeah. So you can like just clutch it out like with like 1 HP, like as long as it's still rolling, like you can quickly heal yourself and you'll live.
So it's not like individual. It's like in my head right now. I'm thinking of like Pokemon, how they have individual health. It's just one big.
Yeah, no,
health
well, it's
bar.
all 4 of the party members. The game is known for like, you know, its blend of like humor, its creepiness, and its sadness. It's such like it's an absolute emotional roller coaster. That's the best way I can explain
I
it.
can tell.
I
with
can
the
tell, yeah.
synopsis. Yeah.
It's such considering it's a game on the Game Boy Advanced, it is like one of the deepest games I've ever played.
That is crazy.
And like, you know, it's one of those things that really like at a moment's notice, you know, it can make you laugh, it can make you cry.
Of course.
I'm not a huge fan of turn-based RPGs, but again, that mechanic's just so fun. Again, it's never released outside of Japan.
So you mentioned briefly a character and the game as well, which brings us to my final game. Why don't I talk about little old Undertale, you know? But ask your question, Sam.
Andrew, do you think Ness is Sans?
No.
No,
I thought you'd at
and-
least humor me.
No.
Okay.
It's,
We're moving
it's a
on then.
funny theory, but absolutely not.
I
No.
think yes. I
and
think yes.
as a person who watched the theory and then has played the game, I can 100% say no, Sans is not Ness.
Oh.
Because the narrative of it is completely different. I believe it is heavily inspired by Earthbound, but it's not.
Yes.
But to bring it to Undertale,
Mm-hmm.
played it pretty much when it came out, like 2015, and it inspired me so much. Because it was the first game that I'd like ever played that was like that, like the RPG stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but also like the first game where you didn't need to kill anyone. Like you could make friends with every single thing you ever encounter. What fascinated me more as I played it was like these characters, because all of them are rich. You have Toriel, Sans, Papyrus, Undyne, Alphys, Mettaton, and King Asgore Dreamer. And every single one of them are so incredibly like deep, unique, and have the writing is incredible for all of them, and I don't know how Toby Fox did it with all of those together and still made them that way. You also have characters like Flowey and Sans specifically, which I will talk about a lot. Those characters are the most interesting to me in terms of like the entire story. Just to briefly go over the game entirely, is that it's an RPG which knows it is an RPG. And it does it in very creepy ways. So the first character you ever encounter is the flower Flowey, who immediately talks about and tries to make this into a game, but quickly he lies to you and he nearly kills you. But then you're rescued by Goat Mom Toriel.
Love you, Goat Mom.
Love Goat Mom.
Absolute queen.
We love pies.
Oh,
But
she was a queen.
later on, if you eventually do fight Toriel, because Toriel doesn't want you to continue into the underground because it's unsafe. The story of the game, basically. Humans and monsters fought. Humans won. They locked them underground. Then, yeah, some people fall into the mountains sometimes. The monsters are trapped underground with this magical spell. You fight Toriel because she doesn't want you to leave the ruins. She wants to keep you safe. And is very much like motherly and doesn't want you to die due to Asgore collecting these human souls to break that barrier. But then, like I did, I persevered and I didn't kill Toriel. And fun fact, if you get your health down, she won't attack you. She purposely makes the attacks move away from
Oh,
you. when
okay,
you
yeah.
fight, yeah. But you can spare and basically not kill Toriel. You then go through and Flowey immediately comments on what you did. So say if you killed her, he goes like, oh, damn, so you're not so like
Yeah.
friendly. And if you kill her, he's like, oh, how do you do that? Why are you so persistent about not killing people? And it's the fact that so early on, the game comments on your actions, and no video games really do that, and I think it's clever that that happens. And that's what makes it, in my opinion, at times a horror game. Because it directly addresses the player. There's obviously the date with Sans. I know that was very out of like context, and I really just pulled that one.
Go through the plot right now.
I
and get
thought it
to
was
Sans.
more with Papyrus.
Oh no, there's other dates. You go through Snowden Town and you meet the infamous Skeleton Brothers as Papyrus. Papyrus wants to capture humans so he can become popular and join the guard, but he's too kind. He has like these traps, but he can't really capture people. He's like a goofus. Basically, you make friends with everybody as you go along. Going through, you encounter other monsters like the captain of the Royal Guard doesn't kill you eventually. You make friends with her, but it's with Sans's dialogues for the game that I will say it is the most interesting because Sans directly addresses plot, he directly addresses choices you make, and he directly does things that doesn't make any sense. Because he'll be like, do you want to go and have like a bite or something? And then you say like, yeah, we'll do that. And then it's like, Snowden is to the left where we're gonna go and get this lunch, and over here's where I need, like, the other direction is where I need to continue the journey. And he's like, all right, let's go get a bite. And he walks the opposite way and still ends up where he needs to go. He breaks the game totally, and it's like, how does he do it? So everybody has this idea, at least from the fandom's reaction, that Sans is this cool guy, but the fandom has a general reaction about how Sans is like.
I know they're obsessed with Sans.
But more to me that if you look at his actions, it doesn't make sense because the world doesn't acknowledge it. Oh, Flowey's the same way. And then
You start seeing patterns.
you start seeing patterns about why do certain characters know it's a game, why does not other people know? And then one of his dates, you talk to him and he basically addresses the fact that he met Toriel because there's basically, when you go out of the ruins, you can't go back in. There's just this giant door. And then one day he was practicing knock-knock jokes on it and he talked to Toriel. And Toriel was like, if a human ever comes through, will you promise you will protect them? And he was just like, oh yeah, no, I'll do that. Right after he says that, just goes, if she hadn't done that, you'd be dead. And like out of nowhere, he just addresses like directly, you die right away. And then immediately just goes, it was just a joke.
What
and
a
it's
hilarious joke.
and it's super weird. And then immediately addresses, haven't I done a good job protecting you? You haven't died a single time. And then he goes, what's that face supposed to mean? Am I wrong? It keeps addressing like the fourth wall breaks.
He knows who you are. He knows that you're playing the game. He knows what you're doing. Yeah.
And it's breaks like gaming. At the very end, he judges your character. He addressed it like perfectly. Was like, all right, now you'll be judged for every single time you killed someone, every single time you got like levels, every time you got this, and then basically values it like every single time you get a level, it's just your capacity to hurt more. Every single time that you go up a level, you become more violent.
So he's like your judge.
Basically.
Really?
And it's like, no video game does that. When he does that, I was like, this is not a game. Bro knows my house. Bro knows my address. Bro knows where I am. This is kind of scary. Why? I don't know.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, they played it when they were younger. So for them, that was the kind of, like you're saying, your first experience with a game that goes beyond its material.
Yeah. There's also, obviously, the Genocide route, which everyone knows about the Sans fight and stuff like that. And in the Genocide route has one of my favorite, like, horror game moments.
Okay.
Because at the very end, you see a visage or, like, a form of this first human that ever fell down. They address their name as whatever you named your character. So say you named your character Sam. They go, hi, I'm Sam. And it's really like,
okay,
why
so it's
are
like
you copying me? Basically, at this
yeah.
point, at the end of the Genocide route, you've killed everything in the underground. All the monsters are dead. It's just a hollowed husk of what's here. And they said, let's erase this world and move on to the next. Like, let's go and kill the overworld now. Let's kill everything else. Let's destroy everything. But then you might say, like, I don't know if I agree with that, Chief. I don't want to do that. And then they say the creepiest line in gaming from me. Since when were you the one in control?
There's one thing I want to add to that. The game actually remembers if you've ever completed a genocide route. They'll have like certain dialogue. I think particularly with Sans and Flowey, if you've done a genocide route before, they'll bring that up.
Isn't there a fact that you can't name yourself over another character?
You
that,
can
won't like it.
There's some.
There's some
Yeah.
you can't do it with. Sans will say no. In the name generator, it'll be like Sans, no.
That's really cool.
And then Papyrus, it's you can't spell it out, so you can name yourself Paparu, and then it'll be like, I'll allow it. But I think I'm just gonna end it off at just Undertale. To me, at times, people forget that it's a commentary game about video games. Sans
It's
character,
not what the fandom says.
It's not what the
like,
fandom says. It's just really creepy and cool at times. And die on that.
That's
PC,
fair
though.
enough. Do you guys have any mobile games that you really like? No, you got games
I've
on your
been-
phone?
I've got a couple. My phone's broken at the minute, but yeah,
Yep.
I'm just gonna say Clash Royale, Pokemon Go,
Oh, Pokemon
sometimes a bit BTD6, and there's also a One Punch Man gacha game that I play like all the time.
Go. Yeah, that's what I mean. I love that. It's like it's so unique to you on your phone
Yeah.
compared to like consoles.
I just don't have the attention span for mobile phones. I like mobile phones, mobile games.
That's fair.
I don't do that.
I have a question. If you could play Bloodborne on a mobile phone, would you?
So maybe I will do mobile games if
Exactly,
that happens.
exactly.
If I can Deathless run on Bloodborne, I can do a mobile run of my
Okay,
Bloodborne.
see that's what I've actually pitched you on. It's
We
just
all
to
been
play
talking about
Bloodborne.
PC emulator for Bloodborne. We need a mobile emulator for
Yeah,
Bloodborne.
yeah.
I will say, I think it is time that we do have to wrap up this episode, where maybe one of the games you heard about today maybe sparked interest that you'd love us to talk about it more in depth. Maybe you like maybe hearing about Mother 3, and we could go really into the Mother 3.
all the
I
Or-
probably have to play it again because it's
Yeah,
really
no,
long.
exactly. Or we can go
bound.
more in depth on Undertale or any of those games like that, or we go a little bit more in depth and you hear us yap a bit more. And I shall end it off now. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And thank you all as per usual. We'll see you all next week,
All right.
and we'll see what happens.
All right, bye,
Toodle,
guys.
guys. Bye bye.
Bye.